Is my cape on straight? This is the first time I've done this. I want to make a good impression. How's my crown? Oh, hi there. Hey, welcome. My name's Reapsin. I wanted to share a design with you that I was inspired by watching one of Avomance's videos. It was a video series, really. A 3-part how to build a castle. He made this in an older version of Minecraft, and the Portcullis doesn't seem to work in 1.12 anymore. So what I wanted to do was design something that works in 1.12. Now, I've only done this in pure 1.12. I haven't gone through and tested it in any of the subcategories like 1.12. Whatever. But it does seem to work here. Now let's get into this real quick. I'll show you how it functions, and then I'll show you the working mechanisms. So here we've got a fence post gate that you can close, so no nasties can get through, no face eaters, nothing to worry about there. You can open it so you can walk through, and then you can close it again. Now, this one also has a locking feature, like the one in Avomance's video had. So when you open it here, if you flip this lever and then close it, it'll stay locked, and when you try and open it, nothing happens. In order to get it to open, however, you gotta not only turn off the locking lever, but you have to try and close it again. And I'll show you why that happens in a minute. And what we do here is now when we press that, it opens up and we can walk through. So let's get down to the cool stuff here. So here is my redstone wiring mess. This was to get all 4 of the buttons on the same circuit, and can be cleaned up if you're so inclined. But the interesting parts are at the top and bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down here, and I'm going to show you what I've got going on. So when we come down here, if this redstone dust gets powered, either from the buttons and this line of wiring here, or with this little test button here that is not important whatsoever. If you go to build this in your own world, you do not need this button. It powers this repeater here, and then this repeater is only there for the signal boost, so you can expand this out as long as you'd like to have it, up until 12 series of pistons long before needing any more repeaters. So once that power comes through that repeater, all along this line, it climbs up this ladder, powers this block and this piston. The repeater here pulls the power out of that block before the piston pushes it out of the way. The arm of the piston does not conduct power, so the redstone repeater here will not pull any more power. You only get a short burst, which is very important for the function of the second row of pistons we have here. Now, I added this other little test button so I can show you just how this pulls away, and we'll get to that in a moment. I wanted to show you first how this portion works. So the buttons we have up there power this line of redstone down here, and it'll also run with this button down here. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down here to the ground floor, find a nice angle where we can see just about everything, and watch it in action. So if you see, when these pistons get moved up to here, they get powered from that for just a very short amount of time, this redstone up here, and they'll extend up, and the gate will open. So if we come around here to this side, see if I can get that button in frame with all of the redstone over here, or at least some of it. Now it's lined up so it'll light up all these pistons down here, come back through this lane as well, climb the ladder, and power that block. Let's see, just a little bit of an adjustment there. Oh, we can't quite see. There we go. So if we watch right now, I'm going to press this button. It'll light all that redstone up down along the bottom, all the way up to the repeater. Come back through, and you'll see this piston extend and pull that block out of the way. So you only get that tiny little burst of redstone power over here. That allows the top row of pistons, once powered, to depower before the signal from the button goes away down here. And that means these sticky pistons on bottom can pull these regular pistons back down, because they won't pull down if they're fully extended. Up on top, what I've got going on is very much the same thing. We come through here, we've got the redstone mess of wiring leading up to this redstone ladder, where it just goes back and forth between the slabs here, because the slabs are not full blocks. They don't interrupt the signal, and the signal can climb up. Same thing with this repeater as on the bottom. We've got just a signal booster here. It's just there to be able to expand it out and continue using it. So, you know, make it longer if you wanted, depending on what your build looks like and calls for. This repeater here is set to 2 ticks because we need that delay. Now, in this case, what happens here is the redstone signal comes from the button we press along the top, powers this repeater, which then powers this block here, which powers the piston, and moves this constantly powered block out of the way so these can become depowered. Now, when this is powered up top here, it pushes the sticky pistons from the top row down. Since that's constantly powered, these pistons will extend. This block gets moved out of the way 2 ticks later, and later than these, I should say. And then what happens is these pistons, which are now down here, become unpowered and can be moved again. So these sticky pistons can pull them back. Now what that looks like, I will show you over here with this test button. So you can kind of see what's going on here. We've got our stone brick blocks, which are the ones you can see when the door is completely closed. They're completely flush with the wall, or the ceiling, right over there. Let's see, get a good angle where we should be able to see just about everything but that piston in the back going on. And then we will activate this circuit, and you can watch right over here, this redstone and this redstone, to see how it's firing. So you got the extension, the secondary extension from meeting up with the already powered redstone, a little bit of time for those pistons to become unpowered, and then they pull back up to right here. And off in the background you can see that's where I started the design for the top. Now, the cool thing is, the other video that Avomance had used 2 sides of the piston for redstone. They used both sides of the piston row and 3 lines of redstone, so that way it would have power and then not have power on one, but it would repower another. It was very time intensive by the looks of things. I haven't tried to directly recreate it though. I feel like this would be not only slimmer, possibly shorter, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't go through and count the blocks like I wanted to. But, most importantly, the thing that worked for me, or made me work towards this, is the fact that it works in 1.12. Now, to explain the locking mechanism, because these pistons need to become depowered in order for this bottom row of pistons to retract or be retracted by the top row, if we negate that depowering by giving it another source, when we go through and push the buttons either down there or our test button up here, which again is not essential to the build, just like the ones on bottom, including that one down there. So we flip the switch, we added power to here, it climbs up and powers this whole line. So even when this block over here gets moved out of the way, this line does not become depowered. What that does is when you push this button, these pistons stay extended and can't be pulled back by the sticky pistons above them. So in order to get that to reset, come down here, you gotta flip the lever so that way they can be depowered again, and then we have to reactivate this, because if we don't reactivate it, it's still getting power from the torch on this side of the block here. So now, when we push the close button again, it allows them to become unpowered, therefore retract themselves, and the top row can pull them up out of the way. So when that turns back on, it's not powering the piston anymore. And so now that it's unlocked, we can come down here and open it. We can close it again. An important thing to remember with this particular setup is because it unpowers when you close it, you do have to either lock it before you close the door to begin with, or if you close it and then try to lock it, you have to press this button again, otherwise it'll open again. But when you go to close it, if we don't turn this lever off, that second row of pistons is going to stay extended and we can no longer open it. Just as I showed you before. See? Well, I'm not going to do a how to build because it's all pretty much laid out in just being here, and you can very easily pause the video and you should be able to follow it along just fine. Know that you can change up the button placement and this mess of wiring here. This is just pulling from the button out and up to where it can get on top of the ladder, and down here it's just taking the power from the buttons behind these mossy cobblestone, or these mossy stone bricks on the inside here. Did that so the buttons were a little easier to see. They tend to disappear here. But it drags, pulls the signal from either one of them down the line to that repeater down there. It's not the cleanest setup and absolutely can be improved upon if you find a way to put it in your build, or if you wanted to move the buttons entirely, you're more than welcome to. I just did this for demonstration purposes. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. If you liked it, please show it by hitting that button, and maybe I'll do some more videos in the near future. Alright, enjoy!